Why do we believe in God? Do we believe because the existence of God is an objective truth we discover? Or because it is a psychological need we feel? Is faith an authentic spiritual experience, or a reaction to the fear of an unknown fate? Are we free to believe, or has our culture decided that for us, can reason alone lead us to God? Or does it reach its limits when faced with ultimate questions? And finally, is believing in God an expression of truth or of hope? These questions are not new. They are at the very heart of philosophy for millennia. God, as an idea or as a reality, has never been absent from human thought, but believing in God hasn't always been a religious act. Often, it has been a philosophical reflection, or a need for coherence in a chaotic world. Chapter 1. The beginning of the question. When man first looked up to the sky and asked, why? Philosophy was born. Faith did not start with dogmas, but with a deep sense that behind the disorder there is structure, behind our frailty there is strength, and behind death there is something else. Chapter 2. God in Ancient Philosophy. Plato did not speak of God as conceived by religion, but of the supreme good, the origin of all things, toward which the soul naturally tends. He believed that our souls remember a more perfect world, forgotten. Aristotle, more pragmatic, spoke of an unmoved mover, the cause of all motion. But this God does not listen, does not respond. He is pure act. Here, God is not an object of prayer, but of thought. Chapter 3. God in Christian Philosophy. With the advent of monotheistic religions, God becomes personal. He hears, judges, loves, and punishes. Philosophers like Thomas Aquinas tried to reconcile faith and reason. He argued that reason can demonstrate God's existence through the observation of the world, but it cannot understand his full nature. Faith complements what reason cannot reach. He writes, reason is the servant of faith, not its enemy. Chapter 4. Philosophers of Doubt. However, not everyone agreed with this. David Hume, the Enlightenment philosopher, critiqued the idea that the cosmos's order proves a creator. He argued that we project meaning where there may be none. Reason for him is limited to experience. What we cannot see, we cannot truly judge. Immanuel Kant, on the other hand, denied that we could prove God through reason. But he argued that God is morally necessary. We need God for good and evil to have true meaning. God is no longer a rational certainty, but an ethical necessity. Chapter 5. Nietzsche and Camus. The post-God era. Then came Nietzsche, who declared, God is dead. Not out of hatred, but because modern man no longer needs God to understand the world. Science, individualism, reason, all these have replaced the old faith. Yet Nietzsche was not happy about this. He warned, without God, who will give us meaning? Albert Camus, the philosopher of the absurd, said that the universe is silent. We shout, but nothing answers. And yet he writes, I do not believe in God, but I do not judge those who seek light in the darkness. Camus does not believe, but he understands the human need for meaning. Chapter 6. Faith as a philosophical choice. So why do we believe? Perhaps because we refuse to accept that everything is absurd. Perhaps because perfect justice does not exist here, and we hope it exists elsewhere. Perhaps because believing gives coherence to our lives. Faith, in this case, is not a dogma. It is an existential posture. We believe not because we have absolute proof, but because we choose to live as if meaning exists. Chapter 7. Between Faith and Atheism. Philosophy, as the third space modern thought, allows us to choose. Believe, not believe, or remain in questioning. Philosophy does not command us. It asks, what is your reason? What is your sense? What is your depth? Perhaps we will never find a final answer, but perhaps the goal is not to find it, but to continue searching. For asking the question is already an act of freedom, of awareness, of humanity.